Alright, what's up my endurance lifers, and welcome back. This is another edition of My Endurance Live. If you are new to the group, want to welcome you to the group. My name is Eric. I'm a USCA ultra running certified coach, and I love running, talking about running, and helping other runners like you become better runners. So every other Tuesday we go live and I share on a topic of interest, or we have a special guest. So this week I'm going to be sharing on growing through adversity. And the reason I want to share about this is because if everything went per plan, would we really get better? Would we really grow? I think most of us could agree that the answer is no. So with this, I'm going to share about my race over the weekend that did not go per plan, and how I grew and what I learned through the struggles, from everything from my knee locking up to getting stung in the head by a bee and just getting a nauseating headache from it, but still continued on. And I'm going to share everything just mile by mile about how that race went. So, but as always, before we jump into that, I want to give a quick shout out to everybody who raced over the weekend and posted in Medal Monday. So hey, what's up? I'm Eric, and thanks for watching this video, but I'm actually going to encourage you to pause it or stop watching it right now, and I want you to go to My Endurance Life, my website, and download one of my free training guides, or join the Facebook group, or learn more about the training and coaching services I provide. Because if you don't do it now, chances are you're going to forget, and this video on YouTube will always be here. In fact, you don't even have to type it into your phone. All you have to do is pick it up and say, "Hey Siri, take me to myendurancelife.com," and she'll open it up for you. So again, go to myendurancelife.com, download one of the free training guides, learn more about my training and coaching services, and then come back and watch this video later. So with that being said, let's get into tonight's topic about growing through adversity. And the reason why I wanted to talk about that is because it is very fresh on my mind. I did a 50-mile ultra over the weekend, and it did not go per plan. But instead of giving up and throwing in the towel, like a number of runners did, just whether it wasn't their day or the heat got to them because it got very hot out there, or whatever it was, that some people, it was amazing seeing the people just pushing through and continuing, inspiring each other along the way, because it was a tough race. Everybody who was out there was going through the same struggle. And I don't think there was many people who had the day they were looking for. So, just for context leading up to this race, I've been training for months and had a 10-hour goal to finish the 50-mile race, which is about a 12 minute per mile average. The course itself had just over 8,000 feet of elevation change, and mapped, and according to my watch, ended at 52.3 miles. So just over 50 miles. But it took me 15 hours, 5 hours longer than my target goal. Anywhere in between 10 and 12 hours I would have been happy with, but I had no idea that it was going to take me 15 hours. In fact, a 50-mile race has never taken me 15 hours, which also made for like a rookie mistake, if you want to call that, because I didn't pack a headlamp in my drop bag, anticipating finishing well ahead of sunset. So the race started at 6 a.m., so I was anticipating by 4, ended up finishing at 9 p.m. So just a long day out on the trails. So leading up to this race, and many of you know who've been in the group for a while, that I did a marathon back in February. And then right after that, my knees just started bugging me a little bit, but it really wasn't enough to like stay off of it, or it was just one of those things, you know, just what runners go through. It hurts a little bit the first couple miles, then it warms up and you don't have to worry about it the rest of the time you're running. So you know, that was there, and it had been like that ever since the marathon. Just, you know, I'd go out, some days it would hurt, some days it wouldn't, and then I noticed 3 or 4 weekends ago, like during the peak of my training, that it started bugging me again. I did a 30-mile run around my neighborhood, just 6-mile loops that I did 5 times, and at the end of that, around mile 20, it started aching again, and I'm just going to use the word aching, not even like painful, just aching. And then around the marathon mark, it went away, and I finished that 30-mile run feeling great. And that was at a 10:30 pace, so a lot faster than I was anticipating, or my target race pace for the goal, or for the 50-mile race that I did over the weekend. And then last weekend, if you saw, then after that I did another 20-mile run, just a training run, and then it felt a little funny, but again, went away. And then it acted up pretty bad during my run with Zach last weekend, during when I was pacing him for his 100K, but still not enough to like be like, oh man, maybe you should stay off of it. It was like, okay, you can keep going, you can push through this. It's what we do, right? It's part of the game, especially in ultra and trail running. So race morning, get there, get checked in. It's a nice, cool morning. It started off in the 50s, which is really, really nice. So I was thinking and strategizing, blowing through the first aid station, which was 7.5 miles away, just stopping to fill up my bottle, and then, but carrying everything nutrition-wise on me, so I don't waste any time, because I really wanted to maximize my time before it started getting hot. We knew it was going to get hot during that race, as soon as the sun came out and broke through. So that's what I did, is, put my head down, really just paying attention to just setting a good, staying on my target race pace. And I was actually ahead of it, which was really good. And not overrunning, just staying in that, comfortable, like, I can do this all day pace. So, got all the way through about mile 15, and then I noticed, like, on the uphills, I was struggling, like, that my knee started to ache again. But I thought, okay, I'm just going to push through. This is normal. It's been doing it for over a month now, and I'm going to be able to, it's going to loosen up, and I'm going to be able to, like, keep running. So, after that, started about mile 10. And then by mile 20, I couldn't run uphill anymore. That it was just too painful. So I was like, bummer. It's like, but the downhills aren't hurting, the flats aren't running, so I'll hike the uphills. No big deal. Like, just whatever. So we get to about the 20-mile mark. That's where we start heading back, and now the sun's coming up, and we have a long 3-mile hike where we're going to gain over 1,500 feet. So I had anticipated running that with just like a slow jog all the way up, but I reduced to a hike, which ended up making me be out on that trail a lot longer and a lot more exposed than I was planning through my strategy going through the race. So about the marathon mark, there was this little stream, and it was hot now. It was getting up into the 80s, fully exposed. There was no shade anywhere, and there was this stream coming down, like a natural creek, coming down these rocks, creating like a little waterfall. So me, along with a bunch of other runners, dip our head in there, cool off, get our backs wet, get our shirts wet, and then we start, chugging up along this trail. I put my hat back on. I didn't know there was a bee inside my hat. Put my hat back on, and it stings me right in the temple. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And I mean, it hurt so bad. And it was like right above my ear, right where my sunglasses and my hat and everything. Everything was rubbing. And then by the time I got to the next aid station, I had such a bad headache from it that I started feeling nauseous. So not only was I hot, I had a headache, and my knee wasn't working. I was just like, man, I'm 32 miles into it now, just like, at that point, like, your brain just starts playing all these games on you. Like, it starts telling you, like, it's not safe to keep going. Like, your brain will tell you that. It'll think of every excuse to tell you just to stop. Telling you you're moving too slow, you're gonna run out of water, your knee hurts, you're gonna damage it. What are you gonna expect from that bee sting in your head? So I ended up getting some ice, put it on where the bee sting was, just to get because it was swelling up. So I got the swelling to go down just a little bit, and then got some food in me, talked myself up. You know, the aid station volunteers are just amazing. Like they're filling my bottles for me, bringing me food, you know, just everything that they could do to just, you know, help us get back out there, because they could see the struggle we're going through, loading us down with ice. And then so pumped myself back up, knew that I had another really tough climb heading back out. It was another 8 miles to the next aid station with another almost 2,000 feet of elevation gain up and down. But because I was moving slow, I ran out of water. Again, I was planning on kind of run hiking up this hill, because, you know, looking and knowing just, you know, what I was capable of all through training and just through past races, I know I could run hike this hill. But because I couldn't run anymore, and I was now getting, my stomach was kind of getting messed up because of my headache, that I wasn't eating enough, and I knew that. So I was force feeding myself. I was using my gels that I like, but just I could only get it down half a gel at a time. So I was now in a calorie deficit going into what is arguably the hardest part of the course, hardest and hottest part of the course. So get to the top, running low on water, and then now I get to run down another 2,000 feet. So I talked myself into running, just like, okay, just go slow. If it starts to hurt, back off. And so I was able to run down the next 3 miles. There's actually 3.5 miles, just a gradual downhill, about 1,500 feet down to the next aid station. But we were in this canyon, and the canyon was so hot that the brush around us was just sweltering. And it was all along the Pacific Coast Trail. So if you know anything about the Pacific Coast Trail in the southern section that we're in, it's desert. There's no trees yet. It's not the Sierras you know, that you see all over YouTube and all that stuff. So now, just sweltering heat, running low on water, getting nauseous even more, and get to the aid station. So I get to the aid station just on fumes, and this aid station had no shade. They had 2 easy ups, and then everybody else was lined across the road just waiting for their runners. So I was doing this run solo. I didn't have a crew or anything like that, so I was really relying on the aid stations to provide the shade and everything else that I needed. So I did have my drop bags, but they were left in the sun, so everything I had in there was just super, super hot. And the goo that, or not the goo, but the gels, if you want to call it gels, that I use, a Spring Energy, it tastes like, it's called awesome sauce, so it tastes like applesauce. And the last thing I wanted was hot applesauce in my mouth. So luckily they had watermelon and all that stuff, but because I was nauseous, I couldn't eat. So I sat down in the shade for about 10 minutes and just closed my eyes and put some ice on my neck, just really trying to get my body temperature down so I could eat, because I knew I needed to eat. Aid station worker, and they were running out of ice, and they were running out of Coke. And right when I asked for some Coke, they just gave the last little bit to another person. So I was just like, man. So now my body and my brain is just like, what are you doing, Eric? You could literally catch a ride right here and be back at the finish line in 5 minutes. That's how far it was. The way the course mapped out from this aid station to the start finish line was a 5-minute car ride. And so people were dropping here left and right, coming in. They were so hot, just a couple people were delirious, and it was a good thing that they dropped because of the heat. But it's around you, and that time, it makes perfect sense just to quit, just throw in the towel and say, you know, just give up. You've gone 40 miles, it was a good run, you know, just the course beat you today. But I just started thinking back. I started playing these words in my head that, you know, just a friend had, you know, messaged me the other day, and it's just it doesn't matter how long it takes. All that matters is that you get it done. And if you saw that in my story, if you guys follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you saw that, and I know it meant a lot to a lot of you, because that's what we're here for. We're here for the journey. We're here to see what we're gonna do when we get into these areas. Am I going to quit, or am I going to find a way through it? And I have quit before. And in the moment, it feels like the right idea. It's when you wake up the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and thinking man, there was ways to keep going. I had plenty of time. I didn't have to wait for, I didn't have to worry about cutoffs or anything like that. I was still ahead of cutoffs. And it was just like, I'm not going to do it again. I've quit before. I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to find a way to finish. Even if I can't run, I'm going to hike this whole thing out. And so those words made me keep going. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It just matters that you finish. And so as soon as I swallowed that and it became real, and then quitting left. It never entered my mind again. So I was able to drink some water. That upset my stomach and I threw up. But as soon as I threw up, I felt better. So I was like, okay, let's go. I know I'm not going to be able to go fast, but at least now my stomach's feeling a little bit better. So I was able to get some water in, get some Coke in me, because the aid station did show up with some supplies. Got some ice, refilled my electrolytes, got some watermelon, grabbed a quesadilla for another long hike up. This hike took me over 2 hours to get to the top, to the turnaround, before we could start heading back. So hiked up. By this time it was 5 o'clock. Now I'm thinking oh no, I didn't break a headlamp. Now I really got to start moving again. So I tried to start running again. Started running again, and then my stomach started feeling upset, and I threw up my quesadilla. I was like, shoot. Okay, I really don't want to lose any more water or anything like that. It's still kind of hot out, even though the shade is coming, it's still warm. So I just got to preserve myself and not get completely depleted, because as soon as I get back down, I have another 1,500 foot climb that we had just ran down. 3.5 miles, 1,500 feet to get up and over to back to the finish line. So at this point I have 9 miles left, and I'm just like, okay, what are we going to do? I was hiking all the way up there with this guy. He said he felt good, so he took off running. Never saw him again. So good job on that, Brian. It was nice chatting with you. The 2 hours that it took for us to hike up that thing, because he was pretty beat up too. Get back down, and just said, okay, I gotta get moving. Time's against me now. So hiked all the way back up. Sunset. Luckily, I had a backup battery for my cell phone. Plugged that in, and I literally hiked in the dark for the next 2 hours with my cell phone light back to the finish line. And when I crossed that finish line, it was just I don't know, a sense of accomplishment, but more than that, it was just I knew that I learned so much more about myself through this, because I've had tough races before, really tough races, but I always had a crew. I always had someone there, or a pacer, to motivate me and inspire me and remind me to do stuff, because when you get so tired and so just gone, I would say that I was gone, that this easy, simple things that you forget. You forget to drink, you forget to eat, you forget to just simple stuff. So I was proud of myself that in those moments that I could get back in by myself and say, okay, you need to eat, you need to do this, you need to do that in order to keep moving. So that was a huge win for me. So yeah, because other 50-mile races that I've done without a crew before, that they went smooth, they went good. Yeah, there were low points, yeah, they were tough, but I've never had so many things go wrong in one race before, to where giving up felt like the best idea out there. So I'm sharing this, not to brag about myself, but just to encourage you, because I believe, especially as ultra runners, that this is what we're signed up for. That we want to, I knew that this point would eventually come in my ultra running journey. Just, you never know when, and you never know what you're going to do or how you're going to grow, or until you get there. And so I think we're all anxious about that. Just not, the physical part is the easy part. Creating a training plan and doing all that, that's the easy part. Knowing the time to put in, the elevation, the running, all that's the easy part. Did you know that 99% of people who sign up for a marathon finish a marathon? And the reason I'm saying that is not to dismiss people who run marathons, but it's very thought out, very planned, very structured. Where in a trail and ultra, there's really nothing structured about it. That you don't know what the day is going to bring. You don't know what the course is going to bring. And we're out there for so much longer. We don't know what's going to happen to us physically, mentally, and with our nutrition. So that I think the biggest takeaway through all this, because I mean, just for instance, like the race that Zach and I did last week, it had a 56% dropout rate. More than half the people DNF'd because the race got so hard and the weather conditions changed. And it was the people who had the mental fortitude to keep going that finished. And yeah, I mean, just want to encourage you, find your limit. You never know what you're going to do until you get there. So, just want to encourage you to keep going, and really just, this is called My Endurance Life. Use that in a personal context. Apply that to your life. Apply it to what you're going through, not only through your running journey, but through life. Because I know that everything that I learned in this race will not only help me in other races, but it's going to help me more as a person. Just, it's weird, it's funny, until you get into these just extreme, like, mental situations, that everyday things that seem, that used to bug me or used to, seem like a big deal, just, they're like, why? Why stress? So, proud of you guys. Thanks for watching this. If you watch this on the replay, make sure to comment replay. And again, no call next week because we have our group coaching. If you are interested in group coaching, make sure to message me or leave a comment underneath group, and I'll get back to you and let you know how you can get in on that. And then the following week, have a surprise, a super neat guest coming. So I'll share more about that when we get the details lined up. So again, thanks for watching, and I will be seeing you in 2 weeks.